A single lawful act of self-defense can still become a nightmare in the next few seconds. Most people think the danger ends the moment the shot is fired, but in reality, that is often where an entirely different battle begins. The physical threat may be over, yet the legal, emotional, and personal consequences are only just starting. And in many cases, what destroys a person's future is not the shot itself, but the words that come out of their mouth immediately afterward. This is the part almost nobody prepares for. People train for the moment of impact. They practice drawing, aiming, reacting under pressure, and making split-second decisions. But very few ever prepare for what happens in the moments that follow. The law does not simply look at the fact that force was used. It examines timing, behavior, words, body language, witness statements, surveillance footage, and every detail that follows the event. In those first few moments, a person can unknowingly transform a clear case of self-defense into something that looks like anger, retaliation, or even guilt. The most dangerous mistake often happens almost instantly. It is the urge to start talking too much, too quickly, and too emotionally before the mind has fully processed what just happened. That single reaction can change everything. To understand why, you first need to understand the legal line that matters most. Self-defense law is built around one central idea: stopping an immediate threat. The key word is immediate. It means a danger that exists in that exact moment, not something that happened a minute ago, not something that might happen later, not a threat based on anger or assumption. It must be present right then. If someone is placing you in immediate fear of death or serious bodily harm, the law may protect your use of force. But the moment that threat ends, the legal protection begins to shrink. This is where many people make a critical mistake. They believe that because the other person started the confrontation, they remain protected no matter what happens next. That is not how these cases are usually judged. The real question is almost always this: what was happening at the exact second force was used? And what happened immediately after? If the threat had already ended and your conduct still looked aggressive, your case can begin to fall apart. Imagine walking out of a convenience store late at night. The parking lot is nearly empty. Suddenly, someone rushes toward you, flashes a weapon, and threatens your life. In that instant, you genuinely believe you are about to be killed or severely injured. You act to protect yourself. At that moment, the law may view your actions as justified, but now imagine what happens next. The attacker drops the weapon and collapses backward. The danger is over. Yet instead of stepping back and securing your own safety, you rush forward shouting, "That's what you deserved," or "I hope you never get up again." Those few emotional words can completely alter how the entire event is seen. Suddenly, what began as lawful self-defense may now be argued as rage, revenge, or punishment. A prosecutor may claim that the threat had already ended, and that your words reveal your true state of mind. Instead of sounding like someone who was forced to defend themselves, you may now sound like someone acting out of anger. This is the part that shocks many people. Even when the initial use of force was legally justified, your own words afterward can make it appear unjustified. Investigators do not only examine the physical act, they listen to the emergency call. They speak to witnesses. They compare statements with camera footage. They look at how consistent your story remains over time. If what you say in those first few moments later conflicts with the evidence, even unintentionally, it can be treated as dishonesty, and often, the person is not lying at all. They are in shock. After a traumatic event, the body floods with stress hormones, heart rate spikes, hearing may become distorted, vision can narrow, memory may break into fragments, time can feel strangely slow or unnaturally fast. A person may not remember where they were standing, how many rounds were fired, or the exact sequence of events. That does not make them deceptive. It makes them human. The problem is that honest mistakes made during this state can later be presented as suspicious. Inconsistencies. Someone may say, "I think he came from my left," only for surveillance footage to later show the attacker approached from the right. A small error caused by stress can suddenly be framed as evidence that the story was being shaped. This is why the immediate aftermath is so dangerous. People often believe they are helping themselves by explaining everything in detail. In reality, every additional sentence spoken under extreme stress increases the chance of an inaccurate statement. The moment the physical danger ends, your mission changes completely. You are no longer trying to survive the attack itself. You are now trying to survive the aftermath. In that moment, your words can become more dangerous than the weapon you just used. The first priority is safety. If the scene is secure and you can do so safely, call emergency services immediately. Being the first reporting party can matter. Provide only the essential information: your name, your location, a simple statement that you were attacked and need police and medical assistance. Keep it brief, very brief. That call is almost always recorded, and recordings are often played later in court. This is not the time for a long explanation. It is not the time to estimate distances, count shots, or reconstruct the entire encounter from memory. Do not say something like, "I think I fired 3 times," when he reached with his left hand from 10 feet away. If later evidence shows 2 shots instead of 3, or the person reached with the other hand, the difference can be used against you. Instead, simplicity is your protection. "I was attacked. Please send police and an ambulance. I am at this location." That is enough. Help first. Facts only. No assumptions. When officers arrive, another common mistake happens. People expect a calm conversation, but responding officers often arrive with very limited information. They may only know that shots were fired. They do not yet know who the aggressor is, who the victim is, or whether the danger has fully ended. Because of that, everyone may initially be treated as a potential threat. You may be ordered to the ground. You may be handcuffed. You may be given loud commands. This is not the moment to argue. Keep your hands visible. Follow instructions immediately. Avoid sudden movements. Do not reach into pockets or make gestures that could be misinterpreted. Your priority is to remain safe and avoid escalating the situation. Once the scene is under control, there are certain facts that matter. Immediately, identify yourself as the person who was attacked. Point out evidence that could disappear: a weapon on the ground, a witness preparing to leave, a security camera mounted on the building, visible injuries, torn clothing, blood on your hands or clothing from being knocked down. Evidence fades quickly. Witnesses walk away. Video footage can be overwritten. Bruises may become more visible later. If something supports the fact that you were defending yourself, investigators need to know it exists. The key is balance. Some people believe they should say absolutely nothing. Others believe they must explain everything on the spot. Both extremes can be harmful. Saying nothing at all may allow critical evidence to disappear. Saying too much may create damaging inconsistencies. A practical middle ground is simple. Officer, I was attacked. That person over there saw what happened. There's a camera on that building. The weapon is near the curb. I need medical attention. I will fully cooperate after speaking with counsel. That is very different from giving an emotional 20-minute retelling while your hands are still shaking and your memory is incomplete. Many people worry that asking for legal counsel makes them look guilty. In reality, after a traumatic event, requesting an attorney before giving a detailed statement is often one of the most reasonable things a person can do. The key is tone. Be respectful. Be calm. Make it clear that you intend to cooperate, but not while you are still physically and emotionally overwhelmed. There are also certain phrases that can quietly poison a case. Statements like, "I didn't mean to shoot him," may sound harmless, but they can create legal confusion. Were you acting intentionally in self-defense? Or are you now describing an accident? Similarly, saying, "I was furious," gives the other side a motive they may eagerly use. Even worse are the emotionally charged lines people sometimes blurt out in shock. "He messed with the wrong person. I taught him a lesson." That's what happens when someone comes after me. Those words may last only a second, but they can follow you for years. The deeper issue is not merely talking. It is trying to perform. Some people believe there are perfect phrases that instantly protect them. They rehearse lines, repeat legal buzzwords, and attempt to sound like the ideal self-defense case. But cases are not won by sounding polished. They are won when your conduct, the evidence, and your statement all align. If you sound scripted, robotic, or overly rehearsed, it can backfire. Investigators speak with people every day. Forced language stands out. Clarity matters more than cleverness. The truth, when genuine, is often simple. You were in fear. The danger was immediate. You acted to survive. You need help. You want evidence preserved. You will provide a full statement after speaking with legal counsel. That is enough in the immediate aftermath. Another important reality is that self-defense laws differ depending on location. Some jurisdictions have stronger protections inside the home. Some apply stand your ground principles.